Right, okay, welcome back. Now, obviously we've been doing an awful lot of DIY, setting up this garage, getting it all ready for action, and I think we can suspend that fun and games for now and get back to some good old garage stuff, which is what you tune in for in the first place. So today we're going to go back to our favourite format, which is simple skills. Simple skills videos, that is something that comes out to you brand new mechanics, new riders, people who've never done anything before. You're frightened to do so much as anything on your bike. It gives you the ability to learn a little bit about the tools you use, how to use them, what they're for, and demystify a little bit of rubbish. And today we're going to cover the humble torque wrench. This is something that strikes fear into the hearts of many novices who don't know on earth what it's for, what even torque wrench means. So today we're going to outline it, show what it does, how it works, and how simple they are to make life a lot simpler when working on your bike. Welcome back to the Boys Garage. Okay, to explain very simply what a torque wrench is, but before we go into it, I just want any of you watching who've got your mechanical skills, you've got your abilities, you know what all this is about, we'll just fast forward. We've had a few comments on these in the past that yeah, let's get to something interesting. Honestly, you wouldn't believe the amount of absolutely brand new riders out there who've just got their CVT, they've just got their first small bike or a scooter or something, and they hear phrases and terms like torque wrench. And they have no idea what it's for, what it does, do they need one? So many requests we get from people saying, do I need the torque wrench? Can I do this job without one? Well, I'm going to do it this way, as we've always done. I'm going to give you the why, and you can work out the if for yourself. It's better if you know why you need something, or why you should use it, than it is whether yes or no. Because I don't believe in learning anything parrot fashion. You should learn something through the knowledge of what it does, what it's capable of, and what it can help and save you. Once you know that, you can make a decision for yourself whether you want to invest in one or not. Now, there are many riders, many people I've spoken to over the years who say that they're old school, Pen, and that they don't need a torque wrench. Well, unless you're Steve Austin and you have a bionic arm that has a meter in it, then you are not old school and you cannot do the work of a torque wrench. Yes, you can get the feel for a nut, bolt or fastener, but a torque wrench is an invaluable tool for making life that little bit safer. What is it? First of all, let's explain what a torque wrench does. Simply put, in simplest terms, it's one of these. It's a ratchet that drives a socket like that. It's just one of them. But the difference with that and a torque wrench is this one has a little gauge on it and a little meter, and it has the ability to measure the amount of tightness that you're doing something up. Now you need to do that quite often. So you put a socket on a bolt and you do that bolt up, and you need to know how tight to make that bolt. If you've got a proper manual for your motorcycle or you've looked it up on the internet, you'll find that there's a scale of measurement of tightness. How tight you do up a bolt or how tight you don't do it up or don't over tighten it can be vital in some cases. You can get a situation where a bolt or a nut does up a soft aluminium casing. It goes into a soft aluminium thread. If you over tighten it, you can damage that thread, and that could be dangerous because the part that it bolts on could be something important, like a brake caliper, and if that breaks and comes adrift in motion, it can spoil your whole morning. So it's important, very, very important, that in some cases, certainly with things like brakes and suspension and engine components, that you know how tight you're doing something up, and it's the torque wrench that tells you that. The word torque is simply applied to the amount of tightness. So it will give you a scale. There's an imperial and a metric scale. There's pounds feet, which is the old imperial scale, measured pounds feet, that's imperial. And on the other side there's Newton meters, which is obviously the metric scale. And they, as you can see, they equally oppose. So whatever you read them in, any torque wrench will give you both. And it's ever so simple. Inside this tube, this metal tube, quite simply, it's one of them. You can see the head there. It's the same thing. It's one of them, and you can see it's been inserted down inside this metal tube. So there's one of them living inside there, perhaps a little short one. And there's a spring inside there. And as you tighten up this tube on the end, this is a click type torque wrench. Other torque wrenches are available. This particular one is the one I've always liked because I find them most easy to use. So you tighten up this bolt or this tube at the bottom by just screwing it in. Have a close look now. As you tighten it up, it increases the amount of pressure. So it tightens up that spring. So we're going to come up here to the Newton meters scale, and we'll stop at about 40. So that's about there also. Now, if I then stick a socket on the end of that, and I apply that to a bolt and I do it up, it gets to 40 Newton meters and it goes click. And I'll show you very briefly what that looks like in action. On the bottom of this, Harley, I'll come right down under what it will be. So we get to this point here, we're doing the bolt up, and you'll see a simple click like that. And if you look here at the head of the torque wrench, there's a little notch inside there, and you can see how this stays still and the handle clicks. Now as I tighten this up, so go up to 30, it still clicks, and I tighten it up to 40, it still clicks, and I take it right up to 50, and you can feel it getting tougher and tougher and tougher. We come up to 60, and now we watch to see if the bolt moves. Not quite. Now I'm not going to do any more on that, because that particular bolt is just one I want to use as an example. That particular bolt is Loctited, and I want to break the Loctite seal and have to redo it. So when it gets to the required, you'll find a loose bolt, you're doing it, it's got a ratchet, so you do it up, it gets to the relevant tightness, and you get that click out of the head here. As soon as you hear that click, stop. Now in your manual, you'll see a list of torque settings, or values as they're referred to. So it will say, do this item up to 20 Newton meters. It tells you to do that. So you set your torque wrench like that, 20 Newton meters, which will be there on the scale, or that equates to, as you can see, it just comes across, that equates to 15 pounds-feet. And then when you apply that torque wrench with that socket, you do it up, click, and you know that the bolt is done up tight enough. But it's not always just about being tight enough. A torque wrench also prevents you from over-tightening things. Now, one of the favourite ones that I see people crying down the email at me is, how do I repair my sump plug? It seems to keep turning. And can I stick it in place with some silicone? What happens is the sump plug underneath your bike is one of the most common things you need a torque wrench for. Quite simply, the sump pan or sump tray underneath the motorcycle is cast aluminium, which is a very soft metal. And the bolt that goes into it, the sump plug, is made from steel. Now obviously, as you screw it in, the steel is very strong, the thread is very, very soft. So you must do it up tight enough so it doesn't leak, but not so tight that you strip that thread out, otherwise you'll have to helicoil it, and that's an expensive process if you can't do it yourself. If you can do it yourself, it's another job you have to learn and pay for parts for. So doing it up the correct tightness is more important than just doing it up tight enough. So you can do it up by hand. If you think you're good enough, that's okay. If you've been doing it 25 years, yeah, that's about fine. But you can over tighten, and even I've done it myself several times. You're doing something up, you think, yeah, that's tight enough, and suddenly it goes soft. You feel you strip that thread, and it's just devastating, because you know you've got a world of grief to deal with now of repairing that thread, draining all the oil out that you just, it's a nightmare. So in this instance, it stops you from over tightening it. You set it to where it says click, that's enough. And it's a big old long bar, you get loads of leverage on it. And there's a final thing that's very important. It doesn't just tell you when something's tight enough or whether it's not tight enough and you need to go more. It's also important for uniformity. Now, when you get the engine casings, like the Derby cover on your Harley Davidson, for instance, or more importantly, the venerable cylinder head. You get the cylinder head on a motorcycle, it has a number of bolts that hold it down. It has to be held down in a uniform fashion. If you look at a 4-cylinder engine, it has a cylinder head that's one piece of cast aluminium, and it has to be bolted down with absolutely even pressure. Every one of those bolts must be the same pressure. So the torque wrench gives you the ability to do each one up to a known tightness, so it's correct. And what you can do is you can bracket that tightness. So you come in at 20, say the final fitting torque for a cylinder head or for any bolt might be, say, 50. Say this bolt here, the final torque on that is 55 Newton meters. You do it up to 40, click, that's okay. 45, 50, you can do 2 or 3, or you can just do it in one go. Simple as that. So there's loads of ways you can use a torque wrench, but I just wanted to demystify what it was about. A torque wrench is a very useful tool. It will stop you damaging threads, and it will stop things falling off when you're riding up the road, both of which can be a real bit annoying. Okay.
And don't forget to relax it at the end of the day.
She's just good, you are. I know why I keep you on.
I don't mean a massage.
Yeah. Everyone needs to relax at the end of the day, eh, Ben? Yeah, you're getting silly now. No, she's quite right. What she said there is a torque wrench inside, as I said, has a spring inside here, and she's quite correct. And when you've wound that right up, to tension that spring, to do a job on the bike, before you put it away in your toolbox, unwind the pressure of that. But don't unwind it so it goes all the way off completely. What you do is bring it up to about, I bring mine up to about 5 to 10 Newton meters. Just keep a tiny bit of pressure on it. Just a little tiny bit to keep it, so it doesn't go all slack and baggy inside there. Keep it just slightly tensioned, but not right off. And that's how you store a torque wrench. Now, just quickly, what kind of torque wrench is? This one works on the basis, come in close, man. It has a one-way ratchet that goes that way only. Okay? If you get some ratchets, like this one, some ratchets have a little button that does one direction, and then you can turn the lever and it does the other direction. This one only goes in one direction. So if you want to put stuff on, you push that through one side. If you want to take it off, you turn it over and put it through the other side, and it goes the other way. Obviously, just rotates, and that's the way that gives you both directions. Also the size, finally, this size, for any motorcycle that you're going to work on, the hole in a socket is measured in, even though in this day of metric it's measured in imperial. So that particular one there is 3/8 of an inch. So that's what's known as a 3/8 drive. And I use 3/8 drive in all my sockets and in the torque wrench as well. 3/8 drive. Now the 3/8 drive like that will always go up to about 70 Newton meters. And on a motorcycle, 70 is enough. There's probably 2 or 3 bolts on the whole motorcycle that require more torque than 70, and that will be the wheel axles and things like the pulley bolts and the disc bolts. That might you might need more, but to be quite honest, there's only 1 or 2. And with my bikes, I do them up FT. FT is a special torque setting. Anybody can work that one out, what it means. And obviously, if you want to spend a little bit more, you can go for a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench, which will go up to 120 foot-pounds, but you'll hardly ever use it. Now for small things, you can get a 1/4 drive. 1/4 drive is this kind of thing. That's 1/4 drive, and I love using these because you can't over-tighten things. And these are great for little things like these bolts around here, little tiny intricate bolts on the bodywork. 1/4 drive is great. And you see here we have foot-pounds or pounds-feet. You can get tiny little torque wrenches that measure pound inches, so they're tiny and they're for this kind of thing. But those of us who do this all the time, you just do that up kind of wrist tight. It's the middle of the road 3/8 drive, 10 to 70 Newton meters that you need to buy, and investing in one of those from about £20 upwards. I'm not advertising this. This is a Sykes Pickavant torque wrench. I got it from Machine Mart so long ago to remember when, and I've had it forever and ever. I could probably replace it now, purely because it's quite an old torque wrench and the exact settings on here might not be perfectly accurate, but for me I go a little bit under and I use marker paint like this on here, which tells me when a bolt is moving or has moved. That's for you. So you can have 1/2 inch, 3/8 drive or 1/4 inch drive, but for me personally, nearly all my tools are 3/8 drive. I always favour this size drive for motorcycle stuff or the 1/4 drive. I've got very little 1/2 inch drive. That's generally car stuff, cars, vans, trucks, that sort of thing. 1/2 inch drive. You don't need that much strength and torque when you're doing stuff on a motorcycle. You don't need to be a butcher. Don't lean on it, monkey boy. Hey, Pen. So anything else I've forgotten, Pen? Seeing as you're telling me you're directing today, aren't you?
What's that next to you?
What's that next to me? What's that? Right. Moving right along. Delboy's Garage baseball caps. We've been thinking about this for an awful long time. I've always worn a baseball cap, as you know. I love them, and I wanted to wear one with our own logo on for quite a long time. And that being our logo, right since Byron Anderson, our buddy, designed it, he just came out a little while ago with a new high-resolution image. So we had a load of stickers redone, a fresh batch of stickers printed. They're razor sharp, brighter colour, better 3D look to them. They're fantastic on there on a real stretchy vinyl, so they're going to be good fun. They're coming out probably in about a week or so, getting those done. And at the same time, we thought we'd get these done. The company we've gone to do embroidery as well. So this is what we've had produced. We changed the image, as you can see, brought it down just a little, 2 curved words, took the tribal dragon out of it to make it a little bit simpler. In that size, it looked a bit too fussy when you start stitching it, and that I think works quite well. The cap we've gone for, as you can see, is a lovely soft brushed cotton, black brushed cotton with a red pipe around the front, red on the back, and the stitching on the air holes the same. It's a low profile cap, not the kind of trucker's cap thing. There's so many. We looked at different designs. There's so many, isn't there?
Yeah,
so
loads.
many different types of. But I didn't know. It's like 60 different kinds of rice. There's so many baseball cap shapes. I didn't know. But this one, when we went there, was what I liked the most. It lends itself to the embroidery well, and it holds its shape. It's quite a nice piece of kit. Now, I'm going to be wearing one in the garage, and I thought you might like to be interested in one as well. We know that in the past, the clothing, we're going into that at the moment. We're looking into working with a dropship company so we can do clothing without having to get involved in it. Because physically, trying to do it logistically, it's impossible. And
It was really difficult.
It is, and it detracts us from what we're doing. We have to have other things. We have to have a focus on what we're doing in the garage. We can't be distracted with clothing. We're not a clothing shop, and we have got a company in mind that we can use to do that for us. So for now, we're just going to do these. These are a lot easier. They're one size fits all. We can get a box of these in the spare room. When you're ready, we can just post them out to you. Prices, we're not sure yet, are we? We haven't got the exact finalised price, but we're thinking they're going to be around £20, fully posted, all included, with a free sticker posted to your address. That's what we're going to try and do, get them in somewhere around that or under that, and it will be wherever you are in the world, try and work it out so it works the same. So there we are, cotton baseball cap, Delboy's Garage. Support the channel a little bit more if you wish. If you haven't been, we've looked at the amount of this Patreon thing. The Patreon thing's been amazing. Some 300 of you, which is amazing. They're, I guess, the most favourite viewers. But there are many of you who've not jumped in on that, so you might just prep one of these for yourself. That helps us as well. So whatever you like, there it is. We'll do a special deal on these when we get the chance to get them all in stock. We'll do a proper video showing you what they're about. This is just the first sample, isn't it?
Yep.
It's just arrived literally today. We thought we'd show you it, show what it looks like, and that will be available from the end of next week. We'll get the first batch of 50 then, so if you're interested, give us a nod. All it will be is the same format as we did the clothing before. You just put a PayPal payment with your address on, and we'll stick it in an envelope and send it out to you with a sticker. Easy, isn't it?
Yep.
What do you reckon?
Can I just say thank you to everyone, whether it be a patron or a viewer?
Absolutely.
Because moving forward, we can help more people.
Absolutely, that's right. Things like this, we had no idea that a video on how to use and what is a torque wrench would be of any interest to anyone, but we've been overwhelmed with requests for it, so we hope that helps. It's the feedback we get from you that drives the videos. We give you what you want as much as we possibly can, because that's what we're here for. We may as well just get on with the bike build otherwise, so why not make it a little bit of a two-way thing? And we know a lot of you like to support what we do in return, so there's an opportunity if you're not just a patron, or if you are and you're still interested in one, there's an opportunity to have a baseball cap with Delboy's Garage on. They look quite cool. It's kind of the old snap-on colours, which is very, very popular. I think it looks quite smart. So give us a shout if you're interested. It'll give us some idea of colour, numbers. The idea of numbers means how many we've ordered the first 50. If they go quick, then we can order another 100, and we can gauge how many we need to order, so we'll keep stock. They do take just over a week to make 50, because embroidery takes a long time, and the company we're using is quite a small company, which is why we've got a reasonably good deal on them, and in that sense they take long. You can use a massive company, you can do 100 at once, but they charge you loads of money for them, and you don't get the quality. If you had Feely Vision, you feel that. They're lovely.
They're lovely, yeah, I know.
It's like a soft, velvety, brushed cotton. It's a really nice material, and I think a nice baseball cap is what it's all about.
Yeah, well, we like quality and
As
local
Sammy
business.
said. Yeah, quality is what it's all about, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Thanks so much. Take it easy, ride safe, and see you next time.